Captain John Carter stood in the empty office. His hands were shaking. He held a white paper in his hands. It was his termination letter. 20 years of service, gone in 5 minutes. The words on the paper were cold. You are fired. Security will escort you out immediately. John could not believe it. How could they do this to him? John worked at Galactic Defense Command for 20 years. He was not just any soldier. He was the best trainer they had. He taught hundreds of young soldiers. He planned dangerous missions. He saved countless lives. Everyone respected Captain Carter. But today everything changed. New leadership arrived at the base. His name was Commander Vex. He was an alien officer. Tall, arrogant, cold eyes. Vex walked into the command room like he owned the place. He looked at all the human officers with disgust. I am in charge now. Things will change here. Humans are outdated, weak, slow. We need real warriors now. The room went silent. John felt anger rising in his chest. He stood up from his chair. Commander Vex, with respect. These protocols were built over 20 years. They protect millions of lives. You cannot just ignore them. Vex turned to face John. His face showed pure hatred. And who are you to question me, old man? John stood straight. Captain John Carter, head of training and defense protocols. Vex laughed, a cruel laugh that echoed in the room. Not anymore. You are fired. Pack your things. Security will throw you out. The other officers looked down. Nobody spoke. Nobody defended John. They were too scared of Vex Point 2 security guards came to John's office. They were young. John had trained both of them 3 years ago. Now they had to escort him out. Sir, we are sorry. We have orders. John nodded slowly. I understand. Do your job. He walked through the long corridors. Corridors he walked through for 20 years. Other soldiers saw him. Some looked away in shame. Some whispered to each other. That is Captain Carter. They fired him. Can you believe it? His former students pretended not to see him. John felt a pain in his chest. Not from anger. From sadness. His office was already empty. Someone had packed his things in 3 small boxes. 20 years in 3 boxes. His medals, his certificates, his photos, all stuffed in boxes like garbage. The guards walked him to the main gate. Captain Carter, your access codes are deleted. Your security clearance is removed. You cannot enter this building again. John took one last look at the place he called home for 2 decades. Then he walked away. John sat in his small apartment. It was quiet, too quiet. His communicator sat on the table, silent. Nobody called. Nobody messaged. Not a single person checked on him. He looked at the photos on his wall. Mission X-12. He led that mission, saved 42 lives. Mission Delta 9. He trained the team. They completed it perfectly. Battle of Sector 7. He planned the defense. 0 casualties. Was it all meaningless now? Did those 20 years mean nothing? John felt empty inside. He was 62 years old. Who would hire him now? What would he do with his life? 3 days passed like this. Silent. Empty. Dark. John stopped shaving. Stopped eating properly. What was the point anymore? On the 4th day, something strange happened. John was sitting in his dark apartment. Suddenly his door opened. He did not touch it. It just opened by itself. Bright light came from outside. John stood up quickly. His soldier instincts kicked in. Who is there? 3 figures stepped inside. They wore golden armor. Royal armor. John's eyes went wide. These were the Queen's personal guards. The elite force. Captain John Carter. One guard spoke with a deep voice. You need to come with us. Right now. John was confused. Why? What is happening? The guard's face was serious. The Galactic Queen herself demands your presence. You will come with us immediately. John could not understand. The Queen. Why would the Queen want me? I am nobody. I was fired. The second guard stepped forward. She did not tell us why, Captain. She only said one thing. Find John Carter. Bring him to me. Now. Not tomorrow. Not later. Now. The third guard looked at John with respect. "Sir, we have a ship waiting. Please come with us." John looked around his empty apartment. He had nothing to lose anyway. He grabbed his old military jacket, the one with his medals still attached. "Okay, I will come, but I need to know, what does the Queen want from a fired soldier?" The guards looked at each other, then back at John. "We do not know, Captain, but she was very serious, very urgent. Whatever it is important." John walked out his apartment with the 3 guards. Outside stood a royal ship, not a regular ship, a royal transport, black and gold, beautiful, powerful. People on the street stopped and stared. Why are royal guards here? Who is that old man with them? John climbed into the ship. Inside it was like a palace. Soft seats, gold decorations, screens everywhere. The ship lifted off smoothly. John sat by the window. He watched the city disappear below. The guards stood at attention, silent, professional. John tried to ask questions. "Where are we going? How long will it take? Can you tell me anything?" But the guard said nothing. "Captain, we have orders. Take you to the Queen. That is all we know." The ship flew faster. They left the planet, entered space. John saw the royal palace in the distance. It was massive, made of crystal and gold, floating in space like a jewel. Thousands of ships surrounded it, protecting it. The ship headed straight for the palace. John's heart started beating faster. In 20 years of service, he never met the Queen. He saw her on screens, in videos, but never in person. And now, after being fired, after losing everything, the Queen wanted to see him. Why? What could she possibly want? Captain John Carter stared at Queen Zalara in shock. 20 years ago. Saved her life. How could that be possible? He searched his memory desperately. The Queen saw his confusion and smiled gently. "Sit down, John. Let me tell you a story. A story you never knew was about yours." They sat in the enormous throne room, just the 2 of them. The Queen began to speak. 20 years ago, I was not a queen. I was young, just a junior officer in the Royal Fleet. My ship was called the Starlight. We were on a simple mission. Routine patrol near Sector 9. Nothing dangerous. Or so we thought. John listened carefully. Something about this felt familiar. The Queen continued. Our ship was ambushed. Enemy vessels came out of nowhere. They hit us hard and fast. Our engines exploded. Fire spread through every deck. Half the crew died in the first attack. The rest of us were trapped, dying slowly. Our distress signal was not working. Nobody knew we needed help. Nobody was coming to save us. I was trapped in the lower deck. Fire all around me. Smoke filling my lungs. I thought I would die there. Then I heard something. Engines. A ship, but not an enemy ship. It was a defense patrol. Your ship, John. Your ship. John's eyes widened. Mission ZX-7. The burning cruiser. The Queen nodded. Yes, Mission ZX-7. You found us. Your crew wanted to leave. They said the ship was too damaged, too dangerous. Saving us meant risking your entire crew. But you refused to leave. You said something I never forgot. We do not leave people behind. Ever. That is what makes us better than our enemies. John remembered now. That mission, that burning ship. They saved 17 people that day. He pulled them out one by one through fire and smoke. The Queen's voice became emotional. You pulled me out yourself, John. I was unconscious. You carried me to your ship. You did not know I was a princess. I was just another dying soldier to you. But you risked everything to save me. When I woke up in the medical bay, you were already gone. Back to your duties. You never asked for recognition. Never asked for rewards. You just did your job and moved on. But I asked about you. Learned your name. Followed your career. Captain John Carter. The man who taught me what true honor looks like. John felt overwhelmed. Your Majesty. I was just doing my duty. Any soldier would have done the same. The Queen shook her head firmly. No, John, they would not. That is why you are special. That is why I need you now. She walked to a large screen on the wall. It showed Galactic Defense Command, John's old workplace, the place that fired him. Tell me, John, why did they fire you? What really happened? John's face darkened. Commander Vex took over. He is a new leader. He said humans are weak, outdated. He changed everything. All the defense protocols I built over 20 years. Gone. He ignored every safety measure, every warning system. I tried to talk to him, tried to explain why those protocols matter. He laughed at me, called me an old fool. Then he fired me in front of everyone. The Queen's expression turned cold. Vex, that arrogant fool. John, do you know who Vex really is? John shook his head. The Queen pressed a button. Files appeared on the screen. Vex is not loyal to us. He works with Krellin Empire. He is a spy, a traitor. Everything he has done, firing you, changing the protocols, shutting down the defense systems. It is all part of a plan. The Krellin Empire is going to attack, and Vex made sure we cannot defend ourselves. John felt cold fear in his chest. When will they attack? The Queen looked at him seriously. Our intelligence says 48 hours, maybe less. The entire sector is in danger. Millions of lives. And right now, we have no defense, because Vex destroyed everything you built. John stood up. His soldier mind was working fast. Your Majesty, if what you say is true, we need to act now. We need to remove Vex immediately. Restore the defense systems. Prepare for battle. The Queen smiled. That is exactly what I need you to do. But John, there's a problem. Vex's power now. He has allies, important people who believe in him. I cannot just remove him without proof, without cause. If I do, it will create chaos, division. We will fight each other instead of the real enemy. John understood. So you need me to go back, expose him, stop him. The Queen nodded. I am giving you something, John. She handed him a golden tablet. It glowed with royal symbols. This is a royal decree. Signed by me. It gives you full authority. You are reinstated immediately, not as a captain, as Supreme Defense Coordinator. Even Vex must obey you. But John, you must be careful. If Vex realizes you know the truth, he will try to kill you. He has already betrayed us once. He will not hesitate to betray us again. John held the tablet. It felt heavy, not because of weight, because of responsibility. Your Majesty, I will do this, but I need to know, why me? You could send your royal guards, your elite forces. Why bring back a fired old soldier? The Queen walked close to him, because, John, you know that base better than anyone. You built those defenses. You trained those soldiers. They may have abandoned you, but deep down, they still respect you. They know you were right. And more importantly, I trust you. In a galaxy full of politicians and traitors, you are one of the few people who cannot be bought, cannot be corrupted. You serve honor, not power. That makes you dangerous to people like Vex. And that makes you exactly what we need. John felt something he had not felt in days. Purpose. I will not let you down, Your Majesty. The Queen placed her hand on his shoulder. I know you will not. Now go. Time is running out. My guard will take you back to the base. When you arrive, show them the decree. Take command. Find proof of Vex betrayal. And prepare our defenses. The Krellin Empire is coming, and we need to be ready. John turned to leave, but the Queen called him back. John, one more thing. He stopped and looked at her. Be careful. Vex is more dangerous than you think. He has already killed to protect his secret. Do not trust anyone until you know whose side they are on. John nodded. I understand. The throne room doors opened. Royal guards waited outside. Captain Carter, we will escort you back. John walked out, but his mind was racing. Vex was a traitor. The base was compromised. An attack was coming in 48 hours, and he had to stop it all. The guards led him to a fast military ship. This one was not beautiful like the royal transport. It was built for speed, for war. They flew toward Galactic Defense Command. John looked at his old uniform in the ship's mirror, the medals on his chest. Each one told a story. Each one represented lives saved. He was fired, humiliated, thrown away like garbage. But now he was coming back, with the Queen's authority. With a mission, the ship approached the base. John could see it in the distance, the place that rejected him, the place he gave 20 years of his life. Now he would return, not as a fired captain, but as their only hope. The ship landed in the main bay. Doors opened. John stepped out. Soldiers nearby stopped and stared. Is that Captain Carter? What is he doing here? Why are royal guards with him? John walked forward, his back straight, his head high. 2 royal guards walked beside him. Officers in the corridor froze in shock. Carter, he is back. But how? Why? John did not stop, did not explain. He walked straight to the command center, where Vex would be. The doors to the command center slid open. Inside, Vex sat in the commander's chair, John's old chair, surrounded by his loyal officers. Vex looked up, saw John. His face turned red with rage. What is this? Security. Remove this man immediately. He was fired. He has no authority here. John held up the golden tablet. It glowed brightly. Everyone in the room saw it. The royal seal. By order of Queen Zalara, I am reinstated, with full authority over all defense operations. Commander Vex, you will report to me. Now, the room went completely silent. Vex's face showed pure shock, then anger, then fear. This is impossible. You are nothing, just a worthless human. The Queen would never. John's voice was cold and hard. The Queen did. And now, Vex, you will answer my questions, starting with this. Why did you shut down the border defense systems? Why did you change all the security protocols? And why did you fire me the moment you took command? What are you hiding? Vex stood up. His hand moved slowly toward his weapon. I do not have to answer to you, royal decree or not. I am in command here. The guard behind John moved forward, their hands on their weapons. Vex froze. John stepped closer. You made a mistake, Vex. You thought firing me would silence me. You thought no one would question your orders. But you forgot something. I spent 20 years building this place. I know every system, every protocol, every backup. And I know when something is wrong. Vex's eyes showed panic now. You know nothing, old man. John pulled out a data pad. I know you shut down 7 defense stations. I know you rerouted supplies to unknown coordinates. I know you disabled every early warning system. And I know why. Because you are working for the Krellin Empire. Because you are a traitor. And because an attack is coming. Vex's hand shot to his weapon. You should have stayed fired. Before he could draw. Royal guards grabbed him, slammed him to the ground. His weapon clattered across the floor. Vex struggled, screamed, Let me go. You have no proof, no evidence. This is all lies. John looked down at him coldly. Then you will not mind if I check the mission logs. Review all your orders. Investigate every change you made. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. Vex's face showed pure hatred. You are too late, human. The attack begins in 48 hours. And there is nothing you can do to stop it. Our defenses are broken. Our systems are down. Even with the Queen's authority. You cannot fix everything in 2 days. You failed. We all failed. And soon, the Krellin Empire will own this entire sector. Suddenly alarms began to blare throughout the station. Red lights flashed everywhere. Officers ran to their stations. Sir, we have a problem. Unknown contact detected at the border. Multiple ships. Hundreds of them. John ran to the tactical display. His heart sank. The screen showed a massive fleet. Enemy vessels moving toward them. How long until they arrive? The officer's voice shook. 12 hours, sir. Not 48 hours. 12 hours. John's blood went cold. They are already here. Vex must have given them the signal. Officers looked at each other in panic. What do we do? The defenses are offline. We have no shields. No weapons. We are sitting ducks. John looked at the screen. Hundreds of enemy ships. 12 hours. No defenses. It was impossible, but he had faced impossible before. Give me a damage report. I want to know exactly what systems are still working. What can we restore? What weapons do we have? The officer worked quickly. Sir, main defense platforms are completely offline. Shield generators are disabled. Early warning systems are destroyed. We have maybe 30% of our normal capabilities. And most of our fighter squadrons are on patrol missions. Far away, they cannot get back in time. Another officer spoke up. Captain, should we evacuate? Get everyone off the station while we still can. John looked at all the frightened faces around him. Young soldiers. Good people. They were looking to him for answers. For hope. No, we do not evacuate. We defend. But, sir, we cannot win. We do not have the weapons. We do not have the time. John's voice became stronger. 20 years ago, I built the defenses for the station. I did not just build computers and shields. I built backups, hidden systems, old-fashioned manual defenses that do not need fancy technology. Systems that Commander Vex did not know about. Systems he could not shut down, because I never told anyone they existed. The officers looked confused. Manual defenses. What does that mean? John smiled for the first time. It means we are going back to basics. Fighting the old way. The hard way. The human way. Now listen carefully. We have 12 hours. 12 hours to prepare for the biggest battle of our lives. 12 hours to prove that we do not need fancy computers to defend what we love. Are you with me? The officers looked at each other. Then slowly, one by one, they nodded. Yes, sir. We are with you. John pointed at the screen. Good. Then let me tell you about Protocol Omega, a defense system I created 20 years ago. A system that does not appear in any official records. A system that Vex never knew existed. And a system that might just save all our lives. John stood in the command center surrounded by confused officers. Protocol Omega. What is that, sir? We never heard of it in any training. John walked to the main console. His fingers moved quickly across the keys. 20 years ago, when I first came to the station, I had a fear. A fear that one day our technology would fail us. That enemies would hack our systems. Disable our computers. Leave us defenseless. So I built something secret. Something simple. Something that cannot be hacked because it does not use networks. The screen changed. It showed old blueprints, ancient defense platforms, manual targeting systems, mechanical weapons. The officers stared in shock. These look like technology from 50 years ago. John nodded. Exactly. Old technology. Reliable technology. I hid these systems throughout the station, in places no one thought to look. They have been sitting dormant for 20 years, waiting, and now we need them. A young officer named Marcus spoke up. But, sir, how do we activate them if they are not connected to our network? We cannot just press a button. John smiled. That is the point, Marcus. We activate them manually, one by one, station by station. It will take time. It will take effort. But it will work. Another officer looked worried. Sir, 12 hours. We have 12 hours. There are 7 defense platforms. Activating them manually means sending teams to each one. That is dangerous. Time-consuming. We might not finish before the enemy arrives. John's face was serious. Then we better start now. I need 7 teams. Experienced engineers. People who know how to work with old technology. Send them to these coordinates. He transmitted the locations to their datapads. The platforms are hidden in maintenance sections, behind false walls, under storage areas, places Vex never bothered to inspect. The officers quickly organized teams. But there was another problem. Sir, even if we get the platforms online, we need gunners. People who can aim and fire manually. Our soldiers are trained on computer systems, automated targeting. Most of them never fired a weapon without computer assistance. John looked around the room. Then we trained them, fast. Who here remembers manual targeting drills? Silence. The young officers looked down. None of them had that training. It was considered outdated, useless. Then an older voice spoke from the doorway. "I remember, sir." John turned. Standing there was Chief Engineer Rodriguez. He was 60 years old, gray hair, tired eyes, but he stood straight. "Rodriguez, you are still here. I thought you retired." Rodriguez walked into the room. "I was going to, sir. Next month, actually. But then I heard you were back. Heard you needed help. So I stayed." John felt relief wash over him. Rodriguez was one of the best. He knew the old systems. He trained under John 15 years ago. "Rodriguez, I need you to gather every old soldier on this station. Anyone over 50. Anyone who remembers how we did things before computers took over. Can you do that?" Rodriguez saluted. "Yes, sir. There are maybe 20 of us left. We can teach the young ones. We have 12 hours. We will make it work." John turned back to the main screen. The enemy fleet was still approaching. Steady, unstoppable, he calculated in his head. If we get all 7 platforms online, if we position our remaining fighters correctly, if everything goes perfectly, we have maybe a 30% chance of survival. An officer heard him muttering, "30%, sir. That is not good odds." John looked at him. 30% is better than 0, and I have won battles with worse odds. Now move. Every second counts. The command center exploded into action. Teams ran to their positions. Engineers grabbed their tools. Old soldiers came out of retirement to teach the young ones. John watched it all. Organized chaos. Beautiful chaos. Then he remembered something. "Vex. Where is Vex?" "The guards took him to detention, sir. He is locked up. Secure." John shook his head. "No. Bring him here." The officers looked shocked. "Sir, he is a traitor. He tried to kill you. Why would you want him here?" John's eyes were cold. "Because he knows things. He knows the enemy's plan. Their formation. Their tactics. He has been working with them. And I need that information." 2 guards brought Vex into the command center. His hands were bound. His face was bruised. He looked at John with pure hatred. "Come to glow human. Come to watch your final failure." John ignored the insult. "Vex, the Krellin fleet. Tell me their battle formation, their attack pattern. How many ships? What weapons?" Vex laughed. "Why would I tell you anything? You are finished. In 12 hours you will all be dead, and I will be free." John stepped closer. His voice was quiet. "Dangerous. Vex, listen to me carefully. When the Krellin Empire attacks, they will not care that you helped them. They will not spare you, because you are their spy. You are in this station, and this station is their target. You will die here, with the rest of us, unless we win." Vex's laughter stopped. He had not thought about that. The color drained from his face. John continued, "So you have a choice. Help us survive, or die knowing you killed yourself along with everyone else. Your betrayal, your greed, it all means nothing if you are dead. Tell me what I need to know, and maybe, just maybe, you live through this." Vex was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke quietly. 300 ships, battle cruisers, destroyers, fighter carriers. They will attack from the north sector, hit your weakest point. Their plan is to overwhelm you with numbers, destroy the station, take the territory. John processed this information. 300 ships. Even with Protocol Omega, that was too many. What else? What weapons do they have? Vex hesitated, then continued. Plasma cannons, missile arrays, and something new. Something we have not seen before. They call it the Void Breaker. It is a massive energy weapon, mounted on their flagship. One shot can destroy a space station. John felt ice in his veins. One shot. How long does it take to charge? Vex looked at the floor. 10 minutes. But once it fires, everything in its path is gone. Vaporized. John turned to his officers. Change of plans. We do not just need to survive the fleet. We need to destroy their flagship before it fires that weapon. How do we do that, sir? It will be surrounded by hundreds of escort ships. Protected. Guarded. John walked to the tactical display. He studied it carefully. His mind worked through possibilities, scenarios, strategies. Then he saw it. A solution. Dangerous. Nearly impossible. But possible. I need our fastest pilots. Our best fighters. People willing to take an extreme risk. Lieutenant Sarah stepped forward. She was 25. Brilliant pilot. John had trained her 5 years ago. I volunteer, sir. John looked at her. Sarah, this mission, if you go, you might not come back. Sarah's jaw was set. You taught me something, sir. You taught me that some things are worth dying for. If my mission saves the station, saves thousands of lives, then it is worth the risk. Other pilots stepped forward. 12 of them. All young, all brave, all trained by John. John felt pride and sadness at the same time. These were his students, his legacy, and he was about to send them into hell. Okay, here's the plan. You 12 will launch early, before the main fleet arrives. You will fly through the asteroid field in Sector 9. Use it for cover. The enemy will be focused on the station, on the big battle. They will not expect a small strike team. Your job is to get close to the flagship, close enough to target the Voidbreaker weapon, destroy it before it can charge. One pilot asked the obvious question, Sir, how do we destroy a weapon that big? Our fighters do not have that kind of firepower. John pulled up a schematic. The Voidbreaker has a power core. Here, if you hit it precisely, with all 12 fighters firing at once, you can cause a chain reaction. The weapon will overload, explode, take the flagship with it. Sarah studied the schematic. Sir, that power core is tiny, maybe 2 meters wide, and it will be moving in the middle of the battle, with enemy fighters everywhere. The targeting has to be perfect. John met her eyes. I know. That is why I am sending my best pilots. That is why I trained you for years. You can do this, Sarah. All of you can, but you need to trust each other. Trust your training, and trust that what you are doing matters. The pilots nodded. They understood. This was a suicide mission, but it was necessary. They would launch in 8 hours. That gave them time to prepare, to rest, to say goodbye. John watched them leave the command center. So young, so brave. He remembered being their age. Remembered thinking he was invincible. Now he knew better. War did not care about bravery. It only cared about sacrifice. Rodriguez approached John. Sir, the first defense platform is online. Team 1 just reported in. 6 more to go. John checked the time. 8 hours until the fighters launch. 12 hours until the main attack. They were behind schedule. We need to move faster. Rodriguez, can we activate 2 platforms at once? Rodriguez thought about it. Maybe, if we combine teams. But it is risky. If something goes wrong, we could lose both platforms. John made the decision. Do it. We do not have time for careful. We need results. Rodriguez saluted and left. John stood alone in the command center for a moment. He looked at the screen, at the approaching enemy fleet, at the countdown timer, at the impossible odds. Then he heard a voice behind him. You look tired, John. He turned. Queen Zalara stood there, her hologram projected from a communications device. Your Majesty, I did not expect. The Queen smiled sadly. I want to check on you, to see if you needed anything. John almost laughed. What I need is more time, more ships, more weapons, but I will work with what I have. The Queen's expression became serious. John, if this goes badly, if the station falls, I want you to know something. You did not fail. You came back when no one else could. You gave them hope. You gave them a chance. That is more than anyone could ask. John shook his head. Hope is not enough, Your Majesty. We need a miracle. Then the Queen said something that surprised him. Sometimes, John, hope is a miracle. Your soldiers believe in you. They trust you. That belief, that trust, it makes them fight harder, try harder, become better than they thought possible. You did not just teach them tactics. You taught them to believe in themselves. That is your real gift. John felt emotion rising in his chest. He pushed it down. Your Majesty, when this is over, if I survive, I have questions about that mission 20 years ago, about why you really brought me back. The Queen's eyes showed something. Sadness, maybe, or regret. When this is over, John, I will answer all your questions. I promise. But right now, focus on survival. Focus on winning. The hologram faded. John was alone again. He looked at the countdown. 11 hours and 40 minutes. Time was running out. He activated the station-wide communications. All personnel, this is Captain John Carter. In less than 12 hours, we faced the biggest threat this station has ever seen. 300 enemy ships. A weapon that can destroy us in one shot. And defenses that are barely functional. By all logic, we should not survive this. But logic does not account for one thing. It does not account for the human spirit, for our refusal to give up, to surrender, to accept defeat. 20 years ago, I came to this station. I was young, inexperienced, scared, but I learned something here. I learned that we are strongest when we stand together, when we trust each other, when we fight for something bigger than ourselves. Some of you are angry that I was fired. Some of you think I abandoned you, but I am here now, and I am asking you to trust me one more time. We have old weapons, old tactics, old soldiers teaching young ones. It is not perfect. It is not pretty, but it is what we have, and it will be enough, because you are enough. So get to your stations. Do your jobs. Watch each other's backs. And remember, we are not just defending a station. We are defending our homes, our families, our future, and no enemy, no matter how powerful, will take that from us. Transmission ended. Throughout the station, soldiers stopped what they were doing. They looked at each other. Something changed in that moment. Fear turned to determination. Doubt turned to resolve. They went back to work. But now they work with purpose. 6 hours later, Rodriguez reported in. All 7 defense platforms are online, sir. Weapons ready. Gunners in position. We did it. John allowed himself a small smile. Good work, Chief. Now, the hard part begins. Sarah and her strike team were preparing to launch. John went to the fighter bay to see them off. The 12 pilots stood by their ships. Ready, nervous, alive. John walked down the line. He stopped at each pilot, looked them in the eye, said something personal to each one. When he reached Sarah, he paused. She looked so young, too young to die. Sarah, do you remember what I taught you on your first day of training? Sarah smiled. You said fear is not the enemy. Hesitation is. Feel the fear, then act anyway. John nodded. That is right. You are going to be scared out there. All of you will be. But do not let it slow you down. Trust your instincts. Trust each other. And come home. Sarah's eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. We will, sir. We will make you proud. John's voice broke slightly. You already have. Now go. Save us all. The 12 fighters launched. They disappeared into the darkness of space, heading toward the asteroid field, toward the enemy, toward almost certain death. John watched until he could not see them anymore. Then he returned to the command center. 5 hours until the main attack. The station was as ready as it would ever be. Old defense platforms hummed with power. Soldiers stood at their posts. Weapons were loaded. Shields were at maximum. Everyone waited. The calm before the storm. Then a junior officer called out, Sir, enemy fleet just increased speed. They are coming faster than predicted. New ETA is 90 minutes. John's blood went cold. 90 minutes. That meant Sarah's team would not reach the flagship in time. They would not be able to destroy the Void Breaker before it fired. The station would be destroyed before the battle even started. No. There had to be a way. John's mind raced. Then he had an idea. A terrible idea. Rodriguez, can we move the station? The engineer looked shocked. Move the station, sir. This thing is massive. It is not designed to move quickly. How far do we need to move? John calculated quickly. 20,000 kilometers. In 90 minutes, Rodriguez pulled up the engineering systems. Sir, if we divert all power to the engines, shut down everything else, shields, weapons, life support, we might be able to move 15,000 kilometers. John slammed his fist on the console. Not enough. We need more. Another officer spoke up nervously. Sir, what if we use the old chemical thrusters? The ones from when the station was first built. They are still attached, never removed, just dormant. John stared at him. Those thrusters are 40 years old. They might not even work. They might explode. The officer swallowed hard. Or they might give us the extra 5,000 kilometers we need. John looked around the command center, at the faces of his crew. They were scared, but they trusted him. Rodriguez, fire up those old thrusters. Divert all power to movement. We are repositioning the station, and we are doing it now. Alarms blared. The station shuddered, groaned. Metal creaked. The ancient thrusters ignited. Flames shot out into space. Slowly, painfully, the massive station began to move. John watched the calculations on screen. 15,000 kilometers. 16,000. 17,000. The thrusters were holding. Against all odds they were working. Come on. 19,000 kilometers. Then one of the old thrusters exploded. The station lurched. People fell. Sparks flew from consoles. Damage report. Hull breach in Section 7. No casualties, but we lost a thruster. We are slowing down. John checked the numbers. 19,500 kilometers. They were so close. He made a decision. Rodriguez, overload the remaining thrusters. Push them past safety limits. Sir, that could destroy the entire engine system. We would be stranded, unable to move. John's voice was ice. If we do not move those last 500 kilometers, the void breaker will destroy us anyway. At least this way we have a chance. Do it. Rodriguez entered the commands. The remaining thrusters burned brighter. Hotter. The station shook violently. 20,000 kilometers. They made it. Then every thruster exploded simultaneously. The station went dark. Emergency lights kicked on. We did it. We moved far enough. But now we cannot move anymore. We are stuck here. John nodded. That is fine. We do not need to move anymore. We just needed to buy Sarah more time. Now we wait. We wait. And we hope that 12 brave pilots can do the impossible. An officer looked at the approaching fleet on screen. Sir, they will be in firing range in 10 minutes. John stood tall. Then let them come. All stations prepare for battle. This is it. This is what we trained for. Show them what happens when you underestimate humanity. The countdown began. 10 minutes. 9 minutes. 8 minutes. The enemy fleet grew larger on screen. Hundreds of ships. A wall of death approaching. 7 minutes. 6 minutes. John thought about everything that led to this moment. 20 years of service. Being fired. The Queen finding him. Coming back. All of it led here, to this moment. 5 minutes. For minutes, the crew was silent, waiting. 3 minutes. 2 minutes. Where was Sarah? Where was the strike team? Had they failed? Had they died? 1 minute. The enemy flagship moved into position. Its massive weapon began to glow. Charging. The void breaker was powering up. 30 seconds until it fired. 20 seconds. Still no word from Sarah. 10 seconds. John closed his eyes. He had done everything he could. 9, 8, 7. Then Sarah's voice crackled over the radio. Target locked. All fighters. Fire. Now.